All right. And we're recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Um,
Yay!
yes, we're here. We're back here reading Just Like a Date Sim, a reverse harem X reader. And it's me, your host, Tao, and Nightly. Ta-da! Um,
Yay!
let's see, what happened last chapter? We had fun encounters with all of the love interests, the main love interests anyway, the hottest guys in school. And we talked to Hana, our little like I don't know what to describe her as. This is a little god that's just hanging around. And now our goal is to oh my gosh, and we also found out that Toshio had a crush on us before the wish.
Oh my god!
And now we're here to talk to the love god as pictured here. And I drew this image that you see in this preview, but I do not like it, so we're not going to have a zoom in on that one. All right, let's just jump right into it. This is chapter.
I probably should preface this by saying that, yeah, I am gonna have like a slight delay on my end, so most of the time I'm gonna try to see if I can jump ahead. But if there's a considerable pause after Tal stops talking, then you'll know why.
Oh,
I'm
don't
just in
worry
a
about it.
different location.
They won't notice, right, guys? You won't notice. Don't worry about it. Um,
I noticed. I noticed.
oh yeah, and before I forget, I guess I'll say this at the end of the video as well. But links to this story is in the description, as well as links to Lovely's, Pearl's social media and Nightly and I's. Anyway, moving on to what chapter 4, an uncomfortable meeting. That evening after that evening, after classes and club activities ended, you were more than ready for Hana to take you to visit the love god, Benzai Ten. To be honest, you always assumed Benzai Ten was female. At least that's how they were portrayed in mythology, but it didn't really matter all that much anyway, what gender they were or choose to be. All you had to do was convince them to undo your wish. Hana had disappeared after your conversation, saying that she needed to inform Benzai Ten of what was going to occur. You felt guilty You felt guilty the second you saw her fear tinged eyes, but you weren't going to back off on this. Surely Benzai Ten would forgive her, but you couldn't leave things as they were. It wasn't right. And now, you were waiting for Hana to return. At least, you really hoped she did, and take you to meet Benzai Ten. You were caught up in your thoughts about the situation. Hana had told you Benzai Ten was a cruel person, but could a god supposedly in charge of love really be all that bad? She also said that hope she also said hope his woman is there. Who could that have been? Did that woman's presence cause him to be more merciful? It was a tough decision with so little knowledge, but you were confident in your ability to sway him. There was no other option. Finally, after what seemed like hours, Hana appeared. She looked ruffled and upset, but at least she was there. You hoped she didn't take back what she said and refuse to let you see him.
He agreed to let you meet with him. Hana trailed off. I'm just glad she was there. That could have been bad.
You wanted to ask who she was, but you never got the chance. Hana grabbed your body and hugged you closely to her bosom. Oh my, holding you as close as physically possible. What the?
Hold on tight.
Hana
Hana
informed
informed
you.
you.
Ah. Her voice suggested no room for argument, so you did as you did as asked and hugged her back. Then agonizing, excruciating pain, the kind that was so painful you couldn't even scream. It felt like every cell in your body was being torn apart, a light so bright around you that it felt like your eyes were being burned out of your skull. It hadn't lasted more than a moment, but by the time it ended, you slumped at Hana's feet and panted heavily. What was that, you wheezed, your vision spinning?
What? Did you think a human being brought to the heavens was going to be a nice pleasant? Anna snorted. Nope. Now come on. Benzai Ten-sama doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Benzai Ten seemed like an awfully disagreeable person, trying to rein in the lingering pain and annoyance you felt towards an impatient and unseemingly cruel god. Whew, you followed Hana, but not without glancing around a bit. These were the heavens, right? May as well take a good look around. Under your feet, plush green glass brushed your ankles. The sky held tiny puffy clouds lazily dancing among the sky. There are high wooden gates everywhere, but maybe that was just a way for God to declare his territory. Regardless, there were blooming cherry blossom and plum trees as far as the eye could see. A reasonable amount of cherry blossom petals coated the ground, and their air held a pleasant aroma. In fact, the air seemed like the cleanest air you've ever encountered. It was so easy to breathe. You wondered how on earth you could ever go back. Hana led you to the largest building in the whole area, a masterfully crafted traditional Japanese home. She glanced back at you hopelessly and opened the first paper door, urging you to follow her. Seeing the tatami floors inside, you immediately removed your shoes, and Hana did as well. She silently pulled you along the halls, quickly and efficiently. You noticed there were strange creatures of all shapes and sizes, but even more so, every single one of them seemed to be wearing a mask of some sort. Would it be appropriate to ask Hana why? You supposed not, at least not for now. After many twists and turns through the building, Hana finally led you to the large paper doors.
This is it, Hana whispered. When you go in, you need to bow. I'm talking get on your hands and knees and bow. He doesn't take well to disrespect. Don't pay too much attention to the woman. He'll just assume you're interested, and that's not a good thing. You ready?
As I'll ever be, you replied. Hana gave you a lingering look before finally opening both of the doors. Hana entered first, then you, and she bowed down to the waist. You followed her actions.
Please pardon our intrusion, Hana said. The Huma would like to make a humble request. Please excuse her disrespect.
Hana bowed again, and you did as well. She nudged you forward, and you figured it was your time. It was showtime. Oh my goodness. You took another step forward, doing as Hana instructed, and bowed low enough to the ground that your nose brushed the tatami flooring. You held a position until a deep voice murmured, "Please rise." Oh, please rise. You did as instructed, rising up from the ground, but you kept your eyes averted as a sign of respect. Oh God. Kuroyuki no Hana tells me that you have a request for me. Is that it? What is it? The man before you asked. And that was exactly what he was. A man, with his red and black kimono parted open and a hayori pulled around his shoulders. It was very clear he was male, even without the deep voice. His face was covered with a red and white kitsune mask. He reclined back on a pile of pillows, with a small table by his side holding 2 small cups and a bottle of what appeared to be plum wine. There was also a single plate of untouched dango. But that wasn't had your attention the most. You swallowed, averting your gaze as best as you could, and said, "By mistake, I made a wish on one of your love wells. The wish worked better than I could ever have expected, and now I humbly request that you undo it." There was a moment of silence, and you shifted uncomfortably. "I have never undone a wish before. Furthermore, I have never answered a wish of such gravity before either. Not for such a low price. Why should I undo it?" Benzaiten asked. He sounded angry, but not a passionate angry. He was cold, which was somehow much more frightening. "I cannot believe you would come to me with such selfishness."
Hanabi.
A
A soft feminine voice spoke up from one thing in the room. You were trying to avoid, but it was now impossible.
Strewn across the lap of Benzaiten, who the woman was for some reason calling Hanabi. You would ask Hana about it if you ever made it out alive. It was an incredibly beautiful woman. Her hair had been pulled back into a loose bun, a single plum blossom hairpin stuck through her hair. The woman bore a soft pink kimono, no embellishments, just pale pink, and a cream-colored obi with a single red ribbon tied around the waist. Around her shoulders was a white hayori that looked far too big for her. In spite of her seemingly simple clothes, the woman stood out, and you knew why. It had nothing to do with beauty. It was her eyes, glassy and lifeless, staring out at something that nobody else could see. It was absolutely terrifying to look at, maybe. She wasn't sad or angry. With eyes like those, no matter what she was emoting, it would never feel genuine. You wanted to get away from her, and yet at the same time help her. Why was that? "What is it, my dear?" Benzaiten replied in a voice that sounded softer and more affectionate than you ever would have expected from the man.
"Please help the girl," the woman requested.
You couldn't see his face, but somehow you could tell Benzaiten was glaring at you. "You know that's not how I do things, my dear," Benzaiten murmured. However, your compassion is adorable.
Undo it," the woman sighed.
Sorry about that.
Please just give her... No, it's fine. I'm trying to jump ahead, but then not.
I'm stuttering too much.
Just give her an opportunity. Please just give her an opportunity. That is all I ask. Perhaps something for her to succeed in exchange for your undoing the wish.
Benzaiten appeared to consider this. Then he looked down at you. You could just tell he had a smug smile, like he was about to offer you an impossible challenge, and was only doing so for his own entertainment and because the woman had asked him. Very well. I do not normally do this, human, so you best not fail. I'll undo the wish, but in exchange... Oh my god, let me try this again. Very well. I do not normally do this, human, so you best not fail. I'll undo the wish, but in exchange, you must make each person affected by the wish fall in love with you using your own charms. Prove to me you do not need my help in the ways of love, Benzaiten declared. Making them fall in love with you? That was just bad. Sure, they could fall out of love, but it was still awful. You parted your mouth to say something, but you saw the woman in his lap shake her head at you. Was it just you, or was the emotion in her eyes determination? But why? Benzaiten didn't notice. He just kept talking. Once you make one of them fall in love, the memories of the whole thing will disappear, and you will move on to the next one. I'll even let you keep Hana. That sounds fair, correct? No, it didn't. You just wished you'd undo the whole thing and be done with it, but seeing as that wasn't going to happen, you'd have to agree. That sounds more than generous. Thank you kindly. You bowed again, your nose brushing the ground. You could sense Benzaiten's pleasure at your subservience. You have a year, but if you cannot complete it within the time limit, I will reinstate the wish permanently. I wish you luck, Benzaiten said. This should make some interesting entertainment for you, my darling. You felt suddenly very disgusted by Benzaiten's handling of the woman in his lap. Was he the reason she was so lifeless? You wouldn't put it past him with an attitude like that, and you couldn't help but feel bad for the woman. Thank you so much for your kindness, you said, and stayed in your bow. You may go now, Benzaiten said boredly. I look forward to seeing your efforts. You hated him. That aside, you stood up from the ground and bowed once more at the waist, following Hana out the door, where the two of you bowed at the waist together. Thank you for your time, you both said, before finally leaving the room. But before you did, you saw the woman in Benzaiten's lap smiling mischievously at you. Her eyebrows were furrowed, and her eyes sparkled with not only life, but raw emotion. It was like she was a completely new person. She mouthed,
You can do it.
and you believed her. Oh my goodness. That's it. That's the chapter. We're introduced to Benzaiten, this handsome motherfucker, and a mysterious glassy-eyed woman. In which, who was, yeah, there you go.
May or may not have lore in a different story.
Absolutely. She has another story. Pearl has another story going on. Why is Benzaiten a male in the story? Why is Benzaiten such a creep? Who was that woman? Why did that woman called Benzaiten Hanabi? All these questions will be answered in an upcoming story starring Benzaiten and another reader. My goodness. That story is currently on hiatus, but...
Well, the cat's out of the bag now.
Oh no. Art update. Yep, I'm not interested in the new art. Eek, it's so embarrassing. But thankfully, I think that's the last one. I don't think we have any more characters that feature this style. And if there is, I'll make new ones like this doodle here, because I don't want to look at them. Anyway.
It's such a pretty doodle too.
Thank you. I don't know how long it took me. But anyway, that'll be the end of this episode. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want to see what we're all up to. And Knightley, any last words?
Bye.
Bye.